morning, and welcome back to the Sage Sorority, guys. I'm your host, Chantel Russo. This is a Between the Pages episode, which means it's just you and me, no script, just vibes, and real-time notes of a life being lived in motion. And lately, if you guys have been listening, I have been in a lot of motion. Okay? A lot of motion. I have spent the better part of the last month traveling, 3 weeks solo in Dubai, a few blurry days in London, and I'm actually recording this from Toronto, from my family's home, because I'm going back to London tonight. So it's been a whirlwind, truly a spring of motion, reflection, lots of reflection, and as always, growth and gratitude. But today I want to talk about my 3 weeks in Dubai, everything about it, and just give you guys this debrief, essentially. Okay, so we'll take it back several months, back to December of 2024. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, you would have remembered that I went to Dubai for F1, which is first weekend of December. So Dubai F1 closes out this season, I'm pretty sure, and it's either end of November. No, the schedule has changed. So now it's usually first weekend of December. So I went. Highly recommend if you are looking for a good time. I think like travel hack 101 is go to any city during F1 weekend. It is so fun. The city truly comes alive. It doesn't matter where you're going. It's such a good time. You don't have to go to the race if you don't want to, or if tickets are too expensive. Just being in the city during that time is truly very lively. The smaller the city, the bigger the impact. So highly recommend. I love going to Dubai during F1. And actually the race is in Abu Dhabi. So it's a good time in both Emirates, to be honest. But I went, and my friend and I, who lives there, we were just shooting the shit, catching up, yada, yada, yada. And I don't know where it came from, but we just kind of had this idea. I truly don't even know how it sparked, of like, let's just do a house swap. It's kind of just like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, I actually, like, you're looking at me, I'm looking at you. That could kind of work. That could be kind of fun. That would be really good for us. Like, I want to spend more time in the Gulf. She wants to spend more time in Europe. Like, yeah, this works. We save money. We are comfortable. We can be there for a little bit longer. Like, yeah, this is literally a good idea. Yes, just like the holiday. And yes, TLDR, it was that good. We didn't fly across the world to find love or anything like that, but we did swap lives for a few weeks. She stayed in my flat in London. I stayed in her Dubai apartment, and I can't recommend doing that enough. Like, if you have someone in your life that's a trusted friend and you guys want to swap places for a while, a weekend, a week, a month, whatever, I highly recommend you do it. You don't even have to live, in two different continents like we do. You could live in the same province, the same state, even like the same city, just different neighborhoods. I would totally do it with one of my London friends easily. I think it's such a fun way to explore a new neighborhood. A couple years ago, I house sat and dog sat for a friend who lives in Notting Hill. Loved it. I spent a few days living in Notting Hill. Like, it was great just strolling around and pretending that I live in this neighborhood. I loved it. So highly recommend house swaps with your friends. Honestly, I really do. A different neighborhood swap can be such a vibe reset. There's something so beautiful about seeing life through someone else's lens for a little while, especially someone that like you trust, right? So for her, she wanted to explore London, explore Europe. I wanted something a little bit deeper. I wanted to spend more time in the Gulf to see if ultimately I could see myself living in Dubai. If you're new to my content or new to the Sage Sorority, you might not know that I've been going to Dubai since 2015. I love it. I know it's got a reputation, but I love Dubai. It was my 11th trip to the region, and I've explored Abu Dhabi and Sharjah in the past. I've still yet to make it to like Qatar, Saudi, Bahrain, Kuwait, which is wild, I'm a creature of habit. What can I say? But just to clarify for anyone who's unfamiliar, Dubai is one of the 7 Emirates in the UAE. So the UAE stands for United Arab Emirates. They're all independent under the one umbrella. Think of it like a province or state. Abu Dhabi is another. Sharjah is another. Altogether, the UAE's population is just over 9 million, and Dubai has about 3.6. It's very international. It's very fast moving. You will never be in Dubai and not see a million cranes in the sky. And yes, it's very curated, which some people like, some people loathe. Honestly, this trip was not about me like curating an experience or partying in the desert, ticking off tourist sites. I've done that. I was truly there to see what it would feel like to live day to day, to build a rhythm in a place that I've only really just vibed through, Like, I really wanted to see a little bit more than that, and to see if the idea that I've been flirting with for years, since 2020 actually, about moving to Dubai was rooted in reality, fantasy, or something that I would actually enjoy day in, day out. So like I said, since 2020, the thought of relocating has always been in the back of my mind. My friends in London, if they're listening to this, they're like, yeah, girl, we've literally been talking about this for a million years. Not because I don't love London. I do, and anyone who knows me knows that I love London deeply. Um, Living in London and making that move there has challenged me. It's shaped me. It's totally broken me open. I'm a completely different woman because of the move to London in ways that is really invaluable and I would never trade. But London has also changed significantly over the course of the 7 years that I've been there. It's gone slightly downhill since 2018. I think a lot of places have gone downhill since COVID, just to be honest. But the UK has the added downfall of Brexit, which went into effect slightly after I got there. You know, this is something that we all know. If you live in London, it's really not a surprise. I don't romanticize London at all, but I know that it still serves me for now. People often ask if London is forever, and I always say I don't know if it's forever, but it's for right now. And that's something I truly believe. But my close second has always been Dubai. Always, 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 always. Those sentences go right on top of each other. So this house swap came at the perfect time to see what it would be like. So Dubai has a reputation of being super glam, super wealthy, super fake, super curated. And especially in the UK, people go for vacation, they go to stunt, and honestly, most people go to Dubai just to escape the gray and get a little bit of like R&R. Obviously, living there is a very different story, and I just want to convey that because I think that people have very wild ideas, and all of that, I'm going to be honest, all of that comes from social media. You have to go to Dubai to know what Dubai is actually like. You have to be there. There's a sliver of what you see online, and then there's so much more to it. Day-to-day life in Dubai is not like a vlog that you see on TikTok. It's so much more than that. Of course, there's opulence, but there's also routine. There's morning commutes. There's lots of traffic. There's coffee shops. There's prayer calls. There's quiet time. Like, there's a lot of quiet stillness in Dubai. Like, most people that live there live a quiet, peaceful life. There's a lot of safety. There's so many things that don't really get broadcast in the way that I think could give people a fuller picture of what it's actually like. It's not perfect by any stretch, and it is very different than living in your typical westernized and democracy ruled countries. That is something to also know that I think people kind of throw to the back of their head. It is not the West, and there's a lot of good things about that, and there's a lot of things that might not work for someone about that as well. So I just kind of want to emphasize that. I like that it's different, and the differences work for me. It might not work for someone else, but you realize how quiet it can be. I realize how much I do value waking up to sun every day. It is such a beautiful thing. It's also something that I do appreciate when I'm in Toronto. Like today I'm looking outside. It's actually quite cloudy and quite gray. This is more of like a London day, but the sky is so bright here in Toronto often, and we know in London that it is not. So that was a beautiful, beautiful treat that I had for the last 3 weeks. Just kind of waking up, looking over to my left and just seeing sunshine, like pure sunshine every day. Not looking at the weather app for 3 weeks. The only thing you need to know is if it's hot or hot as hell. That was basically the difference in temperature. You know, hearing prayer calls, it's kind of like it's almost like a cultural check-in, which I think is really nice. The warmth of hospitality in Dubai and its limits, I'm not going to lie. It's not all sunshine and lollipops, but that's kind of what I want to emphasize when we're talking about being there for 3 weeks. I didn't party once. The most I did was go to the beach club on Sunday, and then I went to the same beach club, had a media launch maybe a week prior, and that was it. No partying. I actually haven't partied in Dubai in a while, actually, like 3 years. Not because like I hate partying, it's just like I don't really feel like it, to be honest. It's a city built for wheels, so I definitely need to rent a car if I'm going to be there for so long next time, at least for like a week, so that I can explore more of the Emirates. I've been to Sharjah before, but I want to go to Fujairah. There's several of them, but I would like to do a little bit more exploring because each emirate is different in its own way. And there's so much more to the Emirates than just the skyline. And next time I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Okay, so here's the nitty gritty. Vacationing somewhere and living somewhere are two different beasts. And while I absolutely love Dubai, I realized that living there full time would not bring me the most joy, at least not right now in my life. And here are a few things that I'll discuss. So the summer heat is real. It's not just hot, it's hot as hell. Like from June all the way through to September, you're kind of basically living indoors. May is a bit of a toss up. I was there for a few days in May and it started to really creep up. But then the week that I left, it started to dip down a little bit. So take that for what it is. In general, me as an individual, I'm not someone who really enjoys being locked up in AC. Like, even when I'm hot, I much prefer to open the windows than have like AC. I just don't like it. I really crave fresh air. I like being outside, even when it's cold. Like, no such thing as bad weather. You just have bad gear. I really, really, really believe that. I like fresh air. I like crisp weather. So the idea of being locked up for June till September, pretty much until nighttime, and then June, July, like July, August, even at night, it's still really hot. It's just not for me. Like, I'm not even a night owl in that respect. Like, I'm definitely someone who thrives in the day. So just that idea, I would feel very trapped. Cabin fever is real. I get it even in London, where the sun is, more of like a situationship than a marriage. But still, that would affect me. It gets quiet as well, and not in a good way. A lot of people leave during the summer if they can afford to. Businesses slow down, events tend to slow down, and a lot of the buzz kind of cools off. Isolation can creep in really quickly, especially if you're used to a vibrant city energy, which I am. Through and through, guys, if you take anything away from this episode, I'm a city person. I love cities. I always want to live in the city. If I had children, I would raise them in the city. Like, I am just a city person. I come from the burbs, okay? I know what the burbs is about. I get it. The house, the trees, the grass, I got it. But first of all, I think I can get all of that in the city when I want it. And I just love city living. I love dense living. Like, I love walking 2 steps to a coffee shop and a cobbler and a dry cleaners. And I like that. I hate the idea of getting in my car to do everything. That would drive me fucking nuts. And I grew up that way, so I know what it's like. I think that it can make you a bit lazy, not judging. It's just something that I've noticed. And I like getting my steps in. And getting your steps in is so much easier when you're not getting in a car every 5 minutes. Honestly, it's real. I feel like I gained weight living in Dubai because of that. No joke. It's also too hot to walk anywhere. And also, there's not a lot of sidewalks. So you might be walking on a sidewalk for a little bit and then boom, sidewalk disappears. And you're like, okay, great. Also, work culture there is very different. So hybrid work setups and working from home is just not as fluid. I'm not saying they don't exist, but it's just not as common. And a huge reason for that, which people may not realize, is that Dubai never really had a lockdown in 2020 and 2021, which is where the vast majority of hybrid and work from home schedules came from. Yes, there were people doing it before. I had a work from home job in 2015, 2016, which I loved. Like, that was like the peak of my personality at that point because it was so rare and so fun. But because of that, the remote first norm that the West has didn't really catch on. So obviously that varies if you're working for a Western-led organization and whatever your local C-suite or leader or founder does, but it's just like not as guaranteed basically. And that is something that I really value in my life. I never want to go into an office every day ever again. Like, and I'll be honest, it's actually not the act of going into the office, it's the commute. Like, if I worked around the corner from my job, that wouldn't bother me as much, but it's just that addition to your day, I just find such a time waster and such a vibe kill. Everyone's different. I only speak for me, but that is something that I know and that I don't want. ever again in my life. Dubai is perfect for entrepreneurs. The sub-demographic that Dubai is great for. If you're a laptop lover, i.e. someone who just works from your laptop, and you're looking to explore and expand, Dubai is really good for that because Dubai has easy infrastructure to be set up for entrepreneurs. Immigration is simple, the setup is very fast, and the infrastructure supports movers and shakers like that. I'll give it that. It's very efficient in a way that would put most Western cities to shame, to be honest. You can literally book a blood test or a dinner reservation through WhatsApp and get it done in 10 minutes. You don't have to call, you don't have to do any of that nonsense. And that's something that about London and a lot of European places that I feel like are really behind. They just would rather, I feel like in the UK sometimes they care more about procedures and process than the actual deliverable, if that makes sense. And I know if you live in the UK, you know what I mean. Also, we have to talk about community. It wouldn't be me or the Sage Sorority if we don't talk about community. And this is where things get even more real for me. One of the biggest things that I know about myself to be true is that human connection with my people, my community, my friends, that means a lot to me. And I think most people would say that, but I also live my life that way. And I know that if I was 80 and I had lots of money and I was married and I had children, let's just say I had all those things, I've ticked those boxes, I'm in great health, whatever, and I don't have like really strong friendships that are hopefully still alive, or I can't look back on my life and know that I had really good relationships with friends, I would know that I miss that. Like that is something in my life that I miss and I did not live a full life. Like that's very important to me. Like having good friends throughout the course of my life is very important to me. The type of community that you grow with, you build with, you feel seen by, you feel held by, that is very important to me. That is, I think, a huge part of my life's work and will always be something that ranks really high for me. And I have met incredible people in Dubai over the years, some that live there, some that don't. But I do think finding real community there can be hard. I think it can be difficult in general across the board, especially if you're moving. I made a TikTok talking about how friendship in your 30s looks different. And it's things that I've alluded to on the podcast before. And I received a comment basically saying, why is anyone looking for new friends? Like you should have made those friends in childhood. First of all, what a stupid fucking comment. We're just going to get that out there. And secondly, not everyone wants to like be born and like die in the same radius that they grew up in. Like not everyone wants that life. And if you want that life, that's totally fine. But not everyone does. And if you do move or you do explore or you do change your path in any which way, you're probably going to need to make new friends. Even like if I had stayed in Mississauga, okay, great, sure, no problem. I'll have Mississauga friends. But then what if I decided to move to St. Catharines? Because housing is cheaper in St. Catharines, probably not anymore, but housing is cheaper in St. Catharines. And now I don't live in Mississauga anymore. I don't live around the corner from my elementary school. And I never did because I was in French immersion, and all Frenchies know that we lived far as fuck because that's just the way the school boundaries were set up. First of all, I thought it was a very reductive comment and just like not like wise at all. But it's also like not everyone lives the same life as you guys. Like people do different things, and there's nothing wrong with giving people the tools to live life in the way that they see fit. This is what this entire podcast is about. Giving women the tools in their 30s to live life as they see fit, not what people expect of them or what society wants from them. Let's just make that very clear. As a woman in her 30s who has had to make new friends, who is open to making new friends, my conclusion is that I think it would be difficult in Dubai. Impossible? No. Can we do hard things, as Glennon Doyle always reminds us? Absolutely. But I do feel like it'll be hard there. Cities in general can be difficult because people are moving. There's a lot of moving parts, especially if you live in a city where people only work in the city and then tend to leave because they live outside of the city. That can be quite difficult. And I will also say cities that heavily rely on cars can be also difficult because people don't want to travel outside of their area. People get very lazy. They get very fussy. Just pointing out what I've learned. Dubai is a city with those things. It heavily relies on cars. The public transit it exists, but it's not very good. And not only is it a transient city, it is a very transient city. I think there's transient cities and then there's hyper transient cities, and Dubai is hyper transient cities. Most people are not there to put down roots. They are there to work, make money because of tax-free and all the money that you can take home when you work there, and then leave. Like, that's it. You will meet people in Dubai that have been there 20 years, 25 years, 10 years. You will see that. But in our age group, I don't feel like you see it as much, basically. People are either super new to Dubai or in that kind of peak part where they might be leaving, unless they have a family. I feel like families in Dubai are more likely to stay there longer. Not if they're starting a family, if they already have a family, and particularly because, one, obviously, the money you make in Dubai as an expat can be quite higher than where you're coming from. Everyone's different, but it's an option. Also, it's tax-free, so you end up taking home a little bit more than what you're used to, depending on where you're coming from. Also, having a child in Dubai, if you were brought over, schooling is usually a little bit comped or discounted. Having a kid is also a lot easier because domestic help in Dubai is relatively inexpensive. So it's nothing in Dubai for someone to have a nanny, a housekeeper, and ultimately you're just more comfortable. One thing about Dubai is if you make enough money, it's a very comfortable life, and it's more comfortable than that exact amount of money in another place, particularly in the West. And this is not just my opinion. I've met lots of people that live in Dubai. I met a man that's been there for 25 years. I met a woman from Glasgow who's been there for 10 years. And she's like, it would be so hard to leave because life here is so comfortable. These are people from all different walks of life, but that is one thing that is very unifying, I would say, for a lot of the expats in Dubai. Also, I think dating can be very challenging, but I think it's gotten particularly worse since 2020, especially for women in their 30s that are looking to potentially settle down, meet someone, and be with them long term. I'm not speaking from personal experience, but from what I've seen and heard, it's a mixed bag. Many women find the dating pool to be limited if they're looking for something serious and emotionally mature. I think that's very key. So I think that poses real difficulties for a lot of the women that are there. I don't find it very common to meet a woman in her 30s and she's married and she said that she met her husband in Dubai. Mo- um, there's only one woman that I've met that met her husband in Dubai, and she met her husband many years ago. Because again, I really do think that Dubai has changed. Um, I think if you are in a serious relationship and you're looking to build a life there, it's absolutely fantastic. It's splendid. You're less dependent on external socializing to feel fulfilled. You're building a home together. That typically softens the edges of transience. From my own experience, I think even when people move abroad, when I say I moved abroad by myself, knowing one person, that's not a chip on my shoulder. That's truly like a badge of honor because it's not easy. And a lot of people would love to do it and don't have the chops to do it, frankly, because moving with work or moving with a partner is not the same. You are essentially moving with some sort of backing and some sort of social and safety net. And if you're doing it on your own, you don't have that. Everything you're building is from scratch. I just want to point that out. And one thing that I realized, I remember it very, very clearly. I was standing in front of the window, just looking out at the sky, looking at all the construction. And I was like, do I want to live here year round, or do I just want the freedom to come here when I want and when I want to reset? And the answer was very clear. So TLDR, I don't want to live in Dubai full time. What I do want is to spend January through April there. That would be my ideal sweet spot. And January through April specifically because I actually love December in London. I think December in London is so fun. The city is truly alive. Like truly, truly, truly alive. There's so much to do. Everyone is in great spirits because of Christmas. And I always spend Christmas in Toronto with my family anyways. And then also my birthday is December 31st. I typically travel for my birthday. So I feel like I'm fine with being a bit more rooted in December. But the time when London is like gray, cold, and very uninspiring, Dubai is breezy, it's warm, but not crazy hot, and it's truly alive. Like Dubai in the wintertime, I think is fantastic. Some people don't like it because they say it's too cold. I would still like to be able to go to Dubai for F1, which is typically early December, end of November, because I just think it's so fun. And I highly recommend anyone going to Dubai during F1. I think it's incredible, and going to Abu Dhabi where the race is actually held. But escaping to the Gulf when I just need a little bit more warmth, peace, and alignment, and kicking off my year the right way. I think having my birthday and then kicking off my year in Dubai, in sun, easing into the year is a really, really nice feeling, because January and February is tough. I think anyone who lives somewhere that has a real winter knows that January and February is tough. You know, we love December, we love the cold, we love the snow. And then as soon as the holidays are over, it's like, oh, all this has to go. And it doesn't go for like another 3 months. So I feel like that's when I would love to be in the sun. It's not really about choosing one city over the other or picking which is better, because I really don't think you should compare places. It's really about your experience and what you want out of that city or that country or whatever. But ideally, it would be me curating a rhythm in my life that supports my mind, my body, my spirit, my pockets, without subscribing to the outdated idea that we have to pick one home forever, because I just don't believe that we do. Ultimately, my experience taught me that I don't feel compelled to make the decision right now, and that could change next week, next month, next year. I just kind of need to listen to what I need in that moment. And that doesn't mean living life fleeting or always changing my mind and being indecisive, but it's that I can take time to make decisions that work for me. And I don't have to force something that doesn't fit, but I can also do hard things, and I can make adjustments in my life where I see fit. Hopefully, I'm not speaking too vaguely and you're picking up what I'm putting down. And one other note I want to mention is that your dream life doesn't need to be built in one place. I'm all about people taking a stint. I always say that. And it's not something that I only believe because I made the move to London. It was something I believed before I left for London. I said to myself constantly, I was like, well, if I don't like it, I'll just come back to Toronto. Like, that was not even a hesitation in my mind. I was like, well, I'll just come back. Like, I never considered feeling like a failure. I never considered being embarrassed. I never considered being ashamed. Those feelings never crossed my mind. Now that I've moved to London, if I was to come back to Toronto, not by choice, that would be a lot harder for me. If I came back by choice, I feel great. I did what I needed to do. I had an amazing time. It changed my life. And now I'm back for a new chapter. So I still feel like that, even though day by day, year by year, I'm getting further rooted somewhere else than where I grew up. There's nothing wrong with a stint, and a stint doesn't have to be a new continent by yourself for 7 years. A stint could be a month somewhere else. I want to spend a week somewhere by myself, just floating through. No set agenda, no crazy plans, no touristy things. I just want to feel it out in an apartment in the middle of the city, being a stranger. I've been at my job X amount of years. They offer a sabbatical. I'm going to take that sabbatical and explore somewhere that I've always wanted to be. Like, that is what a stint can be. A stint can be, hey, my career is rooted to where I live, but I think I want to plan for early retirement. So what do I need to do from now until that time, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, so that I can explore and live somewhere else? Like, there are so many different ways to live your life, and your dream life doesn't have to be built in one place. Like I said, it can be so rhythmic. And I don't look at that as woo-woo or irresponsible or indecisive or like quote unquote a free spirit. I really just look at that as someone who's grabbing their life by the balls and saying like, hey, I actually run this and I can make decisions that work for me. The only thing that goes with the flow is dead fish. It's another quote that I really like. A lifestyle that you carry wherever you go. You don't have to subscribe to something that's outdated, and you don't have to pick one home or one neighborhood forever. I promise you. A few final things that I loved about my trip. I also did some health checks there. It was super easy, efficient, cheaper than going private in London, blood tests, physicals. Although I got a PAP, and I will say it was quite painful. And you might say, girl, they're always painful. No, they're not. They're uncomfortable. But, TMI, she just just wow. Like, yeah, a little painful. Like, it kind of shocked me, not gonna lie. So I don't know. I think I'd probably hold off on getting PAPs there ever again. But bottom line, all done with minimal paperwork, quick turnaround, high standards, setting it up on WhatsApp, like just bing, bam, boom. And I loved it. I appreciate the speed, you know? Like, Dubai can be tough sometimes because it's very much like, I only know how to do this one job. And if you want me to think outside of the box, like, you're going to be disappointed. But one thing I do like is the comfort and the convenience that the Emirate allows for. Everything just happens faster and quicker. You're not drowning in admin. And I feel like in London, sometimes they just care about process and paperwork than they do about just actually getting shit done. It's very annoying. So there's something about Dubai that reminds me, like, just, oh, how good it can be, you know? When systems really serve you, when people are really, like, focused on what they want to do, when service is good, like, oof. That lady, when I met that woman from Glasgow and she was like, the comforts here, she knew what she was talking about. Very comfortable. This is your sign that, one, you are not alone. I am figuring it out just like you, and that you can test drive a new life. Girl, you can test drive more than just a car. Test drive a new life, test drive a new house, test drive a new neighborhood, spend a weekend, get an Airbnb that's local to you, live in a different neighborhood, live in a big ass house to see if you like it. You can totally dip a toe in, and that's really what I want to share with you guys. You can explore without uprooting your whole life. Maybe that means a house swap like I did with my friend. Highly recommend. Maybe that means walking around a new neighborhood. Maybe that means giving yourself the chance to dream bigger. Like, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you try? Maybe that means starting a hobby just for the fun of it. The older I get, the more I believe that the real glow up isn't about alignment. It's about rhythm. It's about the things that I value that are intangible, which is gratitude, deep love, slow mornings, building a life that doesn't just look good on Instagram, but feels fucking good in real life. I have that now, and that will always be my North Star. And that's what these 3 weeks were. Lots of emotions, lots of feelings, lots of downtime, a little bit of rotting. It was great. It was also like a reset, a recalibration, a quiet reminder that there are so many different ways to live well. So on that note, that concludes the episode. I hope you liked it. If you did, leave a cheeky 5-star review to let me know that you actually love me. Share this episode with a friend who has ever flirted around moving abroad or could use a little push or nudge in the right direction for her life. Send it to a friend who loves Dubai or always wants to visit. Have an amazing week. Take care of yourselves. And I will talk to you guys next Thursday from London. Can't wait. Bye.